Sorry about that little glitch. Glitches like that won't happen with chatbots. That is human error. So next we're going to define test cases. These test cases cover all possible user scenarios. This includes positive and negative scenarios as well as edge cases. Write down the expected user inputs and the corresponding chatbot responses. Then we want to conduct user testing to evaluate the chatbot's performance in real-world scenarios. Ask users to interact with the chatbot and provide feedback on their experience. Make sure to take note of any issues or areas that people think might need to be improved. Analyze these user interactions to identify patterns and common issues. There's going to be areas probably at first where users struggle or where the chatbot is providing inaccurate or unhelpful responses. So based on that feedback and interaction, refine the chatbot's responses. This involves updating the training data and retraining the chatbot model. Make sure to test the updated chatbot thoroughly before deploying it. And nothing worse than putting it out there and then getting bad user reviews and having to start all over. It's better to catch those errors and deal with them before making it live. After deploying the updated chatbot, monitor its performance closely. Collect user feedback and interaction data to identify any further areas for improvement. Iterate on the chatbot's responses and continue to refine over time. Like I said, it's an ongoing process. You will probably always be refining it. It's very important that you keep the user experience in mind and prioritize making the chatbot easy and intuitive. Also, make sure to follow best practices for chatbot design, such as keeping responses short and simple and avoiding jargon and technical language. We don't want to confuse our users. We want them to come to this chatbot because it's intuitive and easy to use and gives them what they need the first time. So now we're going to talk about understanding basic commands and syntax for creating that chatbot. So we have to use basic commands and syntax to build the chatbot's functionality. We will cover some of these commands and syntax for creating a simple chatbot using ChatGPT. So it's important to look at these examples because they help you understand how the chatbot will respond to different types of user input and how to structure that conversation flow. So here's an example conversation between a user and a chatbot that provides weather information. User: Hi, what's the weather like today? Chatbot: It's sunny and warm today with a high of 75 degrees. User: Is it going to rain tomorrow? Chatbot: Yes, there's a 30% chance of rain tomorrow. User: Thanks for the information. Chatbot: You're welcome. Have a great day. See, the chatbot gave just straightforward, simple answers, communicated like a human, gave the user the info they needed. So, the chatbot's been trained on a large body of text. So it's learned to recognize patterns in language and generate appropriate responses based on those patterns. With the weather example, it's been trained to recognize common weather-related questions and generate responses that provide relevant information. Here's another example you can read, asking about recipe. What are we going to have for dinner tonight? Well, that chatbot's going to, give you a suggestion, ask what you want, and give you a link to a recipe. It can also provide personal suggestions based on user input. In this following example, the chatbot's been trained to recognize different types of cuisine and generate relevant recipe suggestions. Actually, it was the previous one. So for tech support, I'm having trouble with your product. How can I get to tech support? The chatbot responds with, I'm sorry to hear you're having trouble. Please visit our website and submit a support request, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Or you could train it to say, let me get you to a representative, and it will transfer you to a live person. So these are just very small examples of what these chatbots can do. But as you can see, they are very powerful. So here's a few more tips. Experiment with different conversation flows. Try out different conversation flows to see what works best with your chatbot. You can use tools like Google's Dialogflow or Rasa to design and test different flows. Incorporate personalization. Adding personalized responses can help make your chatbot feel more human-like and engaging. You can use data from previous conversations or user profiles to personalize your responses. And like we said before, use natural language processing. NLP can help your chatbot understand and respond to user input more accurately. You can use NLP tools like Spacey or NLTK to improve your chatbot's NLP capabilities. Okay. Now, we're going to get into some of the technical stuff. So before you can actually start creating the chatbot, you have to install the required libraries. These libraries will enable you to use ChatGPT and other tools needed to build that chatbot. Some popular libraries for creating chatbots include TensorFlow and PyTorch. So you're going to open AI API. This library provides access to the OpenAI GPT model, which is the basis for ChatGPT. You can install it using pip with the following command as follows. And you can see that command there. Python SDKs. Some platforms such as Dialogflow and Rasa provide Python SDKs for integrating with ChatGPT. You can install these SDKs using pip or by following the installation instructions provided by that platform. Other required libraries. Depending on the platform you're using and the functionality you want to build, you may need to install additional libraries. For example, if you're building a web-based chatbot, you may need to install Flask or Django. And this may not make any sense to you right now, and I will likely do a follow-up course on some in-depth explanation on these. And you can just Google it as well, obviously. And here are some commands to install libraries. So after the libraries are installed, they have to be imported into your code. And this is what enables you to be able to use the libraries to create and train that chatbot. So to import the libraries into your code, you simply need to add an import statement at the top of your Python file. And there's one to Open API. There's one for Flask. So again, the libraries you use depend on the platform you're using. And if you can't see these codes or you can't use them, each library and platform will instruct you on how to do it. You're not going to be just out there on your own. So you can import the libraries in any order. Some libraries may have dependencies on other libraries, so it's a good idea to check the documentation to see if there are any specific import requirements. So next, we want to define the responses. This involves inputting text responses to specific user inputs. For example, if a user types hi, the chatbot could respond with hello, how can I help you today? And we kind of saw example this earlier. But to define the responses, you have to create a function that takes user input and returns a response. You can use this using the following Python code. You can read this on the screen. Give you a second here. So the function takes in the you can customize the input and response pairs to fit your chatbot specific functionality and personality. You can also add more if, elif statements to handle more user inputs. So user inputs is an argument. Check if it matches a specific input and returns a corresponding response. And again, integrating will depend on the platform. So you can also input text responses for specific user inputs. And the chatbot shows you how to do that. Now we have to build the functionality. After defining the chatbot responses, we have to build the functionality. This involves using conditional statements to determine how the chatbot will respond to user inputs. For example, if the user inputs a question, the chatbot could search for an answer in a database or knowledge base and provide a response based on the results. You can use conditional statements like if-then statements to handle different types of user input and search for answers in a database or knowledge base using Python code. So you can customize questions and search terms to fit your chatbot specific functionality and the database or knowledge base you're using. And how to do that, it depends on the type of database or knowledge base you're using. For example, if you use an SQL database, you can use the PsychoPG2 library to connect to the database and execute queries. And again, this is a little advanced, more advanced than we're going to go into here, but this is stuff that using the simpler ChatGPT platforms, it's going to help you, it's going to walk you through this. So next we want to customize. To start customizing your ChatGPT experience, you first need to access the settings menu. Depending on the platform you're using, this could be located in different places. Look for a gear or settings icon in the interface, or consult the platform's documentation. So once you find the settings menu, you'll be presented with some options. These could include language selection. Choose the language you want ChatGPT to use for its responses. Some platforms might offer multiple language options, while others may only support a single language. Model version. Some platforms may offer multiple versions of the ChatGPT model, each with different capabilities or performance characteristics. Be sure to select the version that best suits your needs and what you're wanting to get out of this. Input settings. Depending on how you're using it, you might want to adjust how ChatGPT processes user input. For example, you may want to specify whether the model should expect text input, voice input, or a combination of both. Similarly, you might want to adjust how it presents its responses to users. You may be able to control factors such as tone, style, or length of responses. Performance tuning. Some platforms may allow you to adjust various performance parameters for ChatGPT, such as the size of the model or the amount of training data used. These options can be useful if you're looking to optimize the model's performance for a specific use case. So once you have your settings customized to your liking, it's time to start exploring the capabilities. This is where it gets fun. Test the model with different inputs and evaluate its responses. If you don't like the performance, don't be afraid to go back to adjust things. So overall, customizing ChatGPT can be a powerful way to improve its performance and make it more suitable for your specific use case. By exploring the various available settings and options, you can fine-tune the model to deliver the best possible results. All right, let's talk about performance. There are several performance-related settings that can impact the speed and efficiency of your chatbot. One, the batch size, and we're going to talk about this more later on. This setting controls how many requests are processed simultaneously. Increasing the batch size can improve overall throughput, but may also lead to longer response times for individual requests. So maximum sequence length controls the maximum number of tokens or words in a single input. Increasing the limit gives you more complex queries, but can also increase processing time and memory usage. Maximum input length controls the maximum number of characters in a single input string. Again, increasing the limit allows for longer queries, but may also increase processing time and memory usage. Beam size. This setting controls the number of output sequences that are considered during decoding. Increasing this value can improve the quality of the response, but may also increase processing time and memory usage. So in general, anytime you increase something, it's going to take longer and use up more resources. Temperature. This setting controls the creativity of the model when generating responses. Higher temperatures result in more diverse responses, while lower temperatures will result in more predictable responses. So by adjusting all these settings, you can optimize the performance of your chatbot to meet the specific needs of your application. However, it is important to carefully monitor the impact of these changes on both performance and user satisfaction to ensure that your chatbot continues to provide high-quality responses in a timely manner. Accuracy. So we want to fine-tune the model, obviously. Fine-tuning involves training ChatGPT on a specific data to improve its accuracy on a particular task. By fine-tuning the model on a specific task, such as customer service, ChatGPT can generate more accurate and relevant responses. Use domain-specific models. ChatGPT can be fine-tuned on specific domains, such as healthcare or finance, education, technology, the list goes on. By using domain-specific models, ChatGPT can generate responses that are more accurate and relevant to the specific domain. And again, exploring these settings and options, you are able to improve the accuracy of your chatbot and provide your users with more accurate and relevant responses, which is the end goal. So, of course, there are some advanced features. Chatbots powered by ChatGPT can be further enhanced with features such as sentiment analysis and named entity recognition. These features can greatly improve the accuracy and relevance of the chatbot's responses to user queries. Sentiment analysis is a feature that can determine the emotional tone of a user's input, such as positive, negative, or neutral. This can be useful in various industries, such as customer service, where a chatbot can identify and address negative feedback in real time, which, as you can imagine, is very important and will save time, such as if you're a business owner and you get a negative Yelp review and you have to go back and manually address the negative reviews. This chatbot can do it for you, save a ton of time. Sentiment analysis also helps companies track customer satisfaction and improve products and services. Named entity recognition is another advanced feature that can identify and extract specific entities such as names, locations, dates, and organizations mentioned in a user's query. This can help the chatbot provide more accurate and relevant responses. For example, if a user asks for a restaurant recommendation, named entity recognition can extract the location mentioned in the query and provide recommendations based on that specific location, much like having to type into Google, restaurants near me. So, to enable these advanced features, developers can leverage APIs and libraries such as SpaceC and NLTK. These tools can provide pre-trained models for sentiment analysis and named entity recognition, and then that's easily integrated into the chatbot's code. Also, fine-tuning the chatbot GPT model with specific training data relevant to the use case can further enhance the accuracy of these advanced features. For example, a customer service chatbot can be trained with customer feedback data to improve its sentiment analysis capabilities. So overall, leveraging these features such as sentiment analysis and named entity recognition can greatly enhance the performance and effectiveness of your chatbot. Okay, now we're going to go on to discuss model configuration, model size, layering, learning rate, batch size, dropout rate, and more. So, model configuration settings refer to the different parameters that can be adjusted in ChatGPT to customize the language model to fit your specific needs. These settings are crucial for optimizing the performance of the model, and they include the model's size, number of layers, and other parameters. One of the most important model configuration settings to consider is the model size. This setting determines the number of parameters the model has, which in turn can affect its performance in terms of both accuracy and speed. So, in general, larger models tend to be more accurate but are going to be slower, while smaller models are faster but less accurate. So there's kind of a trade-off either way. So finding the right balance between model size and performance can vary depending on your specific use and available resources. To adjust the model size in ChatGPT, you can use the num_parameters parameter. This specifies the total number of parameters the model should have, which is typically measured in millions. For example, a model with 117 million parameters is the default size for GPT-2, while GPT-3 ranges from 175 billion to 13 trillion parameters. And you don't need to understand this in depth to make your chatbot work awesomely. To determine the optimal size for your use case, you have to consider factors such as the size of your data set, the complexity of your task, and your available computing resources. It's also worth noting that larger models require more resources to train and use, which can lead to higher costs and longer training times. Therefore, it's important to weigh the potential benefits of larger models against these practical considerations. The model size is a crucial model configuration setting to consider when using ChatGPT. By adjusting this setting appropriately, you can optimize the balance between accuracy and speed to meet the needs of your specific use case. Okay, number of layers. The number of layers a ChatGPT model can have a significant impact on performance. More layers allow the model to capture more complex relationships in the input data, but can also lead to longer training times and increased resource usage. When considering the number of layers to use, you have to consider the size of the training data, the computational resources available, and your desired level of accuracy. So in general, like we said before, large models with more layers can be more accurate, but can also require more training data and computational resources. On the other hand, smaller models with fewer layers may be faster and more efficient, but may not be as accurate. It's also worth to note that increasing the number of layers beyond a certain point may lead to diminishing returns in terms of performance improvement. Therefore, it's important to experiment with different layer configurations to find that optimal balance between accuracy and efficiency for your specific use case. To summarize, the number of layers in a ChatGPT model can be adjusted to optimize its performance, but it's important to consider the trade-offs, again, between accuracy, training time, and resource usage. Next is learning rate. Learning rate is an important parameter in training machine learning models, including ChatGPT. It determines how much the model's parameters are updated with each iteration of training. A learning rate that's too high can cause the model to overshoot the optimal solution, while a learning rate that's too low can cause the model to converge too slowly or get stuck in local minima. In ChatGPT, the learning rate can be adjusted through the model configuration settings. The optimal learning rate depends on various factors, such as the size of the dataset, complexity of the model, and the task at hand. If the learning rate is too high, the model may converge too quickly and not reach its optimal performance. This can lead to overfitting, where the model performs well on the training data but poorly on new data. On the other hand, if the learning rate is too low, the model may take longer to converge and require more iterations to reach optimal performance. So you can kind of see it's a balance between too high and too low. So it's important to experiment with different learning rates to find the optimal value for your specific use case. A common technique is to start with a high learning rate, gradually decrease as the training progresses. This approach is known as learning rate channeling and can help the model coverage to a better solution. In summary, the learning rate is a critical parameter that affects the performance of ChatGPT and should be carefully tuned to achieve optimal results. Batch size. This is a hyperparameter that determines the number of samples processed by the model at once during training. It is an important setting to consider when training ChatGPT, as it can affect the efficiency and accuracy of the model. A smaller batch size might result in slower training, but it can also help the model generalize better to new data. On the other hand, a larger batch size can speed up training, but may also lead to overfitting, where the model becomes too specialized to the training data and performs poorly on new data. So in general, it's recommended to start with a moderate batch size and experiment with different values to find the optimal setting for your specific use case. Again, keep in mind larger batch sizes might require more memory and processing power, so it's important to consider the resources available when adjusting this setting. Some common batch sizes used for training ChatGPT include 16, 32, 64, and 128. However, the optimal size depends on factors such as the size of the dataset and the complexity of the language tasks being performed. You might have to try several different settings and monitor the performance. Again, some testing and refining. Dropout rate. Not dropping out of school, but kind of the same. When fine-tuning a ChatGPT model, one important configuration setting to consider is the dropout rate. Dropout is a regularization technique and used to prevent overfitting in neural networks by randomly dropping out i.e. setting to 0, some of the neurons in a layer during training. In ChatGPT, the dropout rate controls the probability that each neuron in a layer will be dropped out during training. Higher dropout rate means that more neurons will be dropped out, which can help prevent overfitting, but may also lead to slower convergence and less accurate results. Conversely, a lower dropout rate means that fewer neurons will be dropped out, which may lead to faster convergence and better accuracy, but may increase the risk of overfitting. So the ideal dropout rate for your model will depend on a variety of factors, such as the size and complexity of your training data, the number of layers in the model, and the overall performance you are trying to achieve. As with other model configuration settings, it's often a good idea to experiment with different dropout rates and monitor the model's performance to see which rate works best for your specific use case. So, to adjust the dropout rate in ChatGPT, you can use the dropout parameter when instantiating the model or fine-tuning it with custom settings. For example, you might set dropout equals 0.2 to drop out 20% of the neurons in each layer during training. Overall, optimizing the dropout rate can be an effective way to improve the accuracy and generalizability of your ChatGPT model, while also avoiding overfitting and other common issues in deep learning. And again, this all sounds intimidating, but once you get into it and start doing it, it gets to be very intuitive. So adjusting model configuration settings. The model size parameter controls the number of parameters in the model and can be adjusted to increase or decrease the complexity of the model. So as we said before, larger model size, better performance, but can also increase training and memory usage. Same with layers, learning rate parameter, and batch size. And you can read over this as kind of a summary of kind of what we've said before. Okay, setting 2, training parameters. The training parameters allow you to adjust the learning rate, batch size, and number of epochs. So, learning rate. The learning rate controls how quickly the model updates its parameters based on the training data. A higher learning rate can lead to faster convergence, but may also result on instability or suboptimal solutions. Conversely, a lower learning rate can lead to a more stable training, but may take longer to converge. Batch size refers to the number of training examples processed at once during each iteration of the training process. Again, increasing the size can lead to faster training, but may also require more memory and lead to less accuracy. Number of epochs. An epoch is a single pass through the entire training data set. The number of epochs determines how many times the model will iterate over the data set during training. Increasing the number of epochs can improve the model's performance, but may also increase the risk of overfitting or slowing down the training process. So, to adjust training parameters, you can use OpenAI API or customize your own model if you choose, using one of the many available machine learning frameworks such as TensorFlow or PyTorch. So you want to experiment with different settings to find those optimal combinations that suits your specific needs. In general, start with a low learning rate, small batch size, and small number of epochs. Train the model and monitor its performance on a validation dataset. Gradually increase the learning rate and batch size while monitoring the model's performance. If the model's performance plateaus, try increasing the number of epochs. Repeat this process until you find the optimal combination of training parameters that maximizes the model's performance. Setting 3, input and output formatting. The input and output formatting settings in ChatGPT allow you to adjust the way text is pre-processed and tokenized. Here is a brief overview. Text pre-processing. This refers to the process of cleaning and transforming text data before it's used for training or inference. This may include removing punctuation, converting text to lowercase, and removing stop words. Tokenization is the process of splitting text into individual tokens or words. This is an important step in natural language processing because it allows the model to work with discrete units of meaning. To adjust the input and output formatting settings, you can use the OpenAI API or customize your own model as before. So, this is just a kind of a summary of what we said before. And again, it's important to ensure that the input and output formatting settings are consistent across the training. You don't want to confuse the chatbot. So again, keep it simple. This means that any pre-processing or tokenization steps performed during training should also be performed during inference. Additionally, it's important to consider the computational cost of these settings, as more complex text pre-processing and tokenization methods may require more resources to process. Response generation. The response generation settings in ChatGPT allow you to adjust how the model generates responses to user input. This includes the sampling method used to select the next word, as well as the temperature parameter, which controls the randomness of the generated text. So, sampling method and temperature parameter. There are several sampling methods available, including greedy decoding, beam search, and top-K sampling. So, greedy decoding selects the most likely word at each step, while beam search considers several possible paths and selects the most likely sequence of words. Top-K sampling selects from the top-K most likely words at each step, while nucleus sampling selects from a progressively smaller set of words until a certain probability threshold is met. So the temperature parameter controls the level of randomness in the generated text. Higher temperature results in more diverse and unexpected responses, while lower temperature results in more conservative and predictable responses. To adjust the response generation settings, you can use the OpenAI API or customize your own model using one of the many available machine learning frameworks, as we said before. Sampling method. Most machine learning frameworks provide built-in functions for implementing different sampling methods. You can experiment with different methods to find the one that works best for your specific use case. Temperature. The temperature parameter can be adjusted by modifying the softmax function used to calculate the probability distribution over the vocabulary. Higher temperature can be achieved by dividing the logits, the output of the model, by a higher value before applying the softmax function. It's important to balance that desire for diversity in responses with the need for coherence and relevance to the input or the topic you're on. Different sampling methods and temperature values may work better for different types of conversations or domains. You've got to experiment and evaluate the performance of the chatbot using these different settings and just see what you like best or what gets you the best responses. So, integrating ChatGPT with other platforms and APIs, as we said, is essential for making your chatbot accessible. So there's API integration. ChatGPT can be integrated with various APIs like Twilio, Facebook Messenger, and more to enable your chatbot to communicate with users on different messaging platforms. Voice Assistant. You can integrate ChatGPT with popular voice assistants like Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant to make your chatbot available to users through voice commands. And custom integrations. ChatGPT provides an API that allows developers to integrate the chatbot with their custom applications. So you could even make your own application if you wanted to. To integrate with other platforms and APIs, just follow the integration guidelines provided by the platform or API you want to use. For example, to integrate ChatGPT with Facebook Messenger, you need to create a Facebook page and a Messenger app, and then use the Messenger API to connect your chatbot to the app. So this process can vary, but general steps are obtain the API credentials. You need to obtain those credentials from the platform you want to use. These include a client ID, client secret key, and access token. Configure the settings. Once you've obtained these credentials, then you'll have to configure the settings to use them. This can include specifying the API endpoint and providing the credentials. Then we're going to want to test it. After you've got it all configured, you need to test the integration to ensure that ChatGPT can communicate with the platform or API. You can do this by sending test messages or voice commands to the chatbot. In summary, integrating with other platforms or APIs is a very crucial step for making your chatbot available to a broader audience. ChatGPT provides several integration options, including API integration, voice assistant, and custom. The process may vary depending on the platform, but the general steps are usually the same. So if you want some suggestions for further exploration, experiment with different model configurations. The model configuration settings in ChatGPT allow you to adjust the size, number of layers, and other parameters. So experiment with these configurations to find your best settings. Again, fine-tuning and adjust input and outputting. Experimenting with all these will help you to make sure your chatbot runs seamlessly and is giving you the desired results. And again, here are some other: explore different response generation methods, integrate with other APIs and platforms, use custom training data. So there are so many settings and options that can be adjusted. And it's important to experiment with these and get comfortable with them, fine tune and custom train. And the more you do it, the smarter your chatbot's going to get and the more use it's going to be to you. Let's go. There we go. So, how to fine tune. Collect and pre-process your data. Collect data that's relevant to your specific use case and pre-process it to ensure it's in the correct format for training ChatGPT. Prepare your data for training. Split your data into training, validation, and test sets, and format it in a way that can be used to train the model. Load the pre-trained model. Load the pre-trained model into a deep learning framework, such as TensorFlow or PyTorch. Fine-tune that model. Fine-tune it on your own data by adjusting the model's parameters, as we talked about before, and running it through multiple epochs. Evaluate it. Once you evaluate it, see what needs improvement. And iterate on the model. Based on the evaluation, make adjustments. Repeat that fine-tuning until you achieve the performance that you want. Overall, fine-tuning ChatGPT allows you to create a chatbot that is tailored to your specific use case and provides more accurate and relevant responses to your users, which is our end goal. Here's some use cases. ChatGPT is a powerful language model that can be used in a variety of industries to improve customer service, provide personalized recommendations, and assist with medical diagnosis. So in customer service, it can be used to provide quick and accurate responses to common questions, reducing the workload on human customer service representatives, which means more efficient customer service flow. So the more time and effort you invest in customizing to fit your needs, the better results you'll see in terms of the chatbot's accuracy, relevance, and overall effectiveness. Don't be afraid to experiment, iterate, and fine-tune. You're not going to break it. You can always go back and do it again. So, defining your use case. When defining your use case, you need to consider several factors, including your target audience, what are their needs, what are the specific tasks you want your chatbot to perform. So, you need to identify your target audience. Who are they? What are their demographics? What are their interests? What are their pain points? That's an important one. If you can fix a pain point, you will have a customer for life. So once you've identified your target audience, you need to understand their needs. What are the common problems they have, and how can your chatbot help them solve these problems? If your target audience is students, the common problems may include finding information on courses, assignments, and exams. Your chatbot can help them by providing information on these topics. So after understanding their needs, then you have to identify specific tasks that your chatbot can perform to solve their problems. These tasks should be related to your target audience's needs and should be achievable through a chatbot. For example, if your chatbot is designed for students, specific tasks may include providing information on courses, assignments and exams, checking grades, and scheduling appointments with professors. You don't want to set it up so that your chatbot does all the work for the students. Like, you don't want it writing essays for students. So define your use case is essential. By defining these needs and the specific tasks, your chatbot is specifically tailored to your target audience's needs and is capable of solving their problems, which, like I said, will get you a customer for life. Now we want to customize the training data. Not all chatbots are created equal. One of the critical factors that determine the effectiveness is the quality of its training data. Customizing the training data is important because it allows the chatbot to understand the nuances of the specific use case it was created for. Using generic training data can result in a chatbot that is ineffective and frustrating for users. And if they get frustrated the first time, they are not going to come back. So you want to identify the types of questions and phrases that users are likely to ask the chatbot. Once you've identified these, you need to collect real-life examples of these questions and phrases. So collecting real-life examples can be done through several methods, including surveying your customers, analyzing chat logs, and researching competitors' chatbots. That's very important. You got to see what else is out there to see where you're going to fit in.